So, what do you think of that clip from Lucha Underground today, Arlen? Blah. What did you think of that Lucha Underground clip I sent you, Arlen? My tongue was trying to choke me. I swear.
That was a good clip, actually. I was surprised by everything that was going
on. So I sent Arlen like a 14-minute highlight reel from Lucha Underground season 4, like just one of the episodes. And I haven't watched it in a season and a half. It's fucking bonkers. I forgot how crazy it actually is.
Well, I don't always get to see all the messages until later, so I was catching up and I just saw you're like, oh yeah, hey, check this out, and then I see Arlen's first response is like, is that a demonic doll?
Oh yeah.
Like,
And here's the thing, like I know a lot of old crotchety wrestling personalities and wrestling fans are like, it exposes the business, it makes us look bad, blah blah blah. Everyone knows wrestling is fake. There's no more business to expose. Yeah. And if you're gonna reinvent wrestling, please do it like this. Please just do Mortal Kombat. That's all this is.
Well, yeah, right. Just go over the top. Like, don't try and like narrow it down to being more realistic. Just go over the top with it. That would be more interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Oh well, trust me, they're over the top. Characters have been murdered. Characters die.
And they get better.
Well, actually, some of them stay dead. Also, some of them come back under a bunch of makeup as the character's father or brother. I'm not kidding.
That's great.
That's such a good idea.
I'm definitely more interested in that version of wrestling. It's just there's just not enough time in the world, unfortunately.
It is on Netflix right now, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it the first season or whatever's up there?
I think it's like seasons 1 through 3.
So but was that before it went completely insane?
It was insane from the start. The whole thing is built in the fact that it's the underground fighting club of pro wrestling, and that what happens in this temple stays in this temple. And it's even like the stage and the arena look like some dingy like warehouse that's been filled with bleachers.
Can we just unpack that one sentence? What happens in this temple stays in this temple.
Yep.
That should be the episode.
They call it the temple.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yep. Yeah, there are big stone staircases leading up to an elevator.
There's an office that people routinely get tossed through through its windows. There's a character who turns into a dragon. There are characters who are literal cosmic beings. There's assassins. There's ninjas. There is a triad group of girls. It's wacky as and there's Mil Muertes, who is he's Ermac. He's Ermac from Mortal Kombat, basically. Like, he's possessed by the souls of like thousands of dead who died during an earthquake or some shit, and he has died on screen before, and just comes back.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm not against it. Like, it sounds like they took what was that fucking reality, or not even reality, but the Real Fighters. That was basically just Mortal Kombat, the TV show.
You mean WMAC Masters, the show I introduced this show to, because Arlen, Hunter, and Alan had no idea what I was talking about.
Yep. I couldn't remember the name of it, but yes, that show.
It was a show where people fought and they had fucking life bars.
Yep. Yeah, they were fighting for that ridiculous like medallion or whatever it was. Yeah,
and there were backstage sketches just like wrestling, and then they go out into this ridiculously cheap stage and fight a bunch of ninjas, and they win depending on how many ninjas they beat.
Yep. Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous, but when I was like 13, I ate that shit up.
Oh, I looked for it every day, and then eventually just disappeared. Yeah. And then I think this show is the only reason I ever got to bring it back up again.
Yeah. There was a dude who
one of the dudes from that show is Scorpion in the Mortal Kombat movie.
Oh, I'm not that surprised. No, I was gonna say there was the one dude who kind of looked like Cyborg, like except a really low rent version of Cyborg. Like if he went to like the dollar store and bought a bunch of stuff to glue onto his face.
Also, the black dude who Liu Kang beats in the movie is also from WMAC Masters.
Oh, maybe that's the same guy who looks like Cyborg.
Maybe.
Yeah, could be.
I couldn't tell you anybody else from that show. I just know Chris Casamassa and that dude with the dreads. That's
There was a dude who looked like Liu Kang who ended up winning, of course, because he was the hero from the beginning of the setup of the show. But yeah, it very much like borrowed heavily from Mortal Kombat in the beginning because I like how Mortal
Kombat wanted to so desperately get away from like the Liu Kang trope that they just fucking killed him in some intro cutscene.
Yeah, and then they made him
like,
evil.
he's dead.
Yeah, and then they made him the ruler of Outworld.
Yeah, they made Johnny Cage the hero of the game.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that was the thing. Like, they brought him back in one of the crazy Mortal Kombat's that, they're like, now we have everybody. Wait, this one has everybody that was in the last one.
Armageddon? Yeah, where Liu Kang has chain hooks on his hands that he doesn't use.
Yeah, he was a weird zombie Liu Kang. Yeah.
And he has hooks with chains in the ends of them attached to his wrists, but if you switch to his weapon mode, he pulls out nunchucks. Why?
Oh, I played this one.
Okay, that makes sense.
On PSP.
Yeah.
Sure. On PS. Good God, on PSP.
Wow.
Really.
Yeah, I played it on PSP. It was
Because when I'm gonna go for a great fighting experience for a brand new Mortal Kombat game, the first thing I think of is a portable system.
Right, that one, and there's a Final Fantasy game that is basically Soul Calibur, but it's only Final Fantasy.
Dissidia or whatever the hell.
Yeah, I think so. And I played that one.
You can do like summons and ridiculous stuff like that.
I am old enough to remember Air Gates for PlayStation 1. Which people
yeah.
only bought
God bless
because
the
it
ring.
featured Final Fantasy VII characters and a bunch of throwaway nobody characters that nobody gave a shit about.
Yep, I used to play that game in the arcade.
Oh my god, that actually must have been a much better experience because on consoles that game's a nightmare.
It was kind of the same thing on the arcades. I mean, you just had a joystick instead of thumb pads.
Thing is, there's no fine movement in that game. Everything you do is like a run or a jump or a sprint, and you're trying to navigate these multi-tiered stages, and it's impossible.
And you can only make like 90-degree angle movements too.
Yeah,
you can. Yeah, I need to make a right here. Nope, you're going this way. You
Bam, down the stairs.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm Connor McGraw. Welcome to the After Dark episode of
I was about to say. None of us have introduced yourselves yet.
I was getting there.
Arlen Harrow here, as usual.
I'm Alan Muir.
I'm Eric Fedorchak, and I have something horrible to tell you guys about later.
No.
I like how whenever Alan says his name, it sounds like he's saying like a new version of Thor's hammer.
Meow 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 meow
meow.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Love you, bud.
It's like one word. Amazing.
All right.
Especially when you call yourself the Alan Muir for your. Wait, is that still your Twitter account?
That's my Twitter account. That's.
B? Look at it, the Alan Muir.
It just occurred to me, Alan. If we wanted to have someone do an impression of Rian Johnson, you just have Alan talk. That's what his voice sounds like to me. He sounds like Rian Johnson.
Who's Rian Johnson?
That's the director of The Last
Looper.
Jedi.
The director.
The director for some reason, like when someone says his name, because it's spelled like
rain.
Like rain. Yeah,
right.
It doesn't register.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I should pronounce the I next time just to clue you in.
Rian Johnson.
Ryan Johnson.
Rihanna Johnson.
Rihanna.
Did you see Tom Holland got a pop vinyl made of his Rihanna get up from lip syncing?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh.
He was so good on that. Like, it came out of nowhere.
The people who are unexpectedly great in that show are some of the most left field people. Like Triple H was on there and killed it.
Really?
Yes.
Because I've only ever watched that show in YouTube clips, so.
Right, same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Or GIFs.
And Eric, my C is because someone was on there that's just so out of left field, and they did an amazing job.
Wait, did Triple H sing through his nose?
No, wow, Alan, 1999 called. They want Triple H jokes back. Holy fuck.
This is why we have Alan here, to make dated wrestling jokes. That's his purpose in life. Like hello.
Alan, do you have 2 words for me?
No, I don't.
And I lost him. That was easy.
Okay. What are we doing?
There's a little bit of news. A little bit.
Yeah,
I was committed to just being goofy for how long this show lasts. There's some news in between.
Yeah. Okay. First story I have, because it's a lot of pictures. It's a lot of photos today.
It's a lot of stuff we're gonna tell you that it looks like without actually showing you.
Audio mediums.
Oh yeah.
Describe sounds to you.
Right. Okay, first story. We got to look at Robin from the new Titans.
I dig it. I like it.
Yeah, it looks cool.
And man, does.
Oh, I lost all of that. I don't know what you said there.
Oh man, really? I was just gonna say
Yep.
the X Games. The X Games really missed the pads that he stole from them.
I mean,
yeah, that's what I was saying in the chat too.
If we're to say that, though, then we need to tell everybody on the Flash and Arrowverse to stop cloning the same leather jacket with a different decal.
Right. I mean, fair, but that's the CW.
Yeah.
and I mean, I guess this might as well be CW. So.
Oh,
whatever.
I think this show was probably made for quarters, like especially with where it's going.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure it was made for as cheap as possible.
Yeah.
Not Scott Buck cheap and efficient, but like.
Right. Yeah. Like he's wearing motocross pads. Like he's wearing like one of those shirts that have pads built into them. Definitely.
Well, I mean, like Batman's suit in Batman Begins is like a spelunking suit.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah. And if I were like,
it looks good though.
A young superhero to make his own gear, like I guess I'd go for something that's got moderate protection to it. You can just find. Make my own armor. Fuck off.
Yeah, I don't know. It does look good, I guess. It does. If I have a problem with it, it feels like something you would see in what is it, Hero Beatdown or whatever.
It does look very fan filmy.
Yeah, but otherwise, I don't know. It works. It definitely doesn't look like the Schumacher Batman costumes or whatever.
Man, has there even been an on-screen live-action Robin since that movie?
No,
because as I've said many times before, things poison the well. I think the Robin well was poisoned by that movie in the same way I think 66 poisoned Batman on TV.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's completely reasonable assumption.
Yeah. All right. That's why this is called the speed round.
Yeah.
There it is.
All right.
Picture of Robin.
This one should go even quicker. So we all saw Kristen Wiig, Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Yet.
It's not much to see, really.
Yeah, it's not really much. It's not even like her in costume. It's like her human form or whatever.
It's so far panned out, like it's hard to tell anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. There it is.
Yeah.
I pasted. Yeah, just pasted it in the chat.
I'm like, for some reason, beyond excited that a comedic actress is going to go be a villain in a comic book movie.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool.
I love Kristen Wiig, so I will give her a chance in anything.
Me too.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And who's who's her male villain co-star? I can't remember who it was. Oh, it's Oberyn Martell from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he's like they described him as a Boba Fett type kind of like. You know, you're unsure as to where his allegiances are, and he could switch at any time. So yeah, that'll be cool. I don't.
Did they announce what character he's playing, or?
No, they said he's an Indiana Jones type.
Okay.
So, yeah, he's gonna probably be like Nathan Drake, kind of. But more morally
I thought I read a rumor that he was supposed to be like male Cheetah.
That's what a lot of people thought.
I didn't think there was a male
spreading.
Cheetah.
I mean, there could be.
There is apparently.
True.
So.
No, but Arlen, this ties back into our discussion about the Wonder Woman sequel a while ago about how there was a point where she was kind of powerless and doing kind of archaeology stuff more so than she does now in the movies. But yeah, where she had the white suit and whatnot. And I remember, I think Steve Trevor was kind of an Indiana Jones-esque character at that point. So it would make sense that they're going that way.
Yeah, it all works. So yeah, I don't know. There's nothing to judge, so
yeah, exactly.
She's gonna be in a museum. That tells me nothing really. But the setting looks cool. The direction is good. You know, the shot is really well done. So yeah. Speed round, guys. Speed round.
Sure.
All right. I messed up the order, but we're gonna do the glass poster next. So yeah, this poster.
Who saw the glass poster?
I didn't.
Did everybody see it?
I did.
It was fucking awesome.
It is rad.
Yeah, it's great.
It's pretty cool.
For those who don't know what we're talking about, the new Glass poster has, well, it's like an asylum floor, and there's cool reflections on the floor of Willis, McAvoy, and Jackson, but like their true selves.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like the people who are reflecting down are like old, beaten up men who are in wheelchairs or in handcuffs, and there's fucking Kevin.
Well, I thought the premise was that they're supposed to be in a mental asylum.
Looks like it.
Yeah. That's what I heard too.
Yeah. So
which
I
makes
think
you wonder, like,
exactly...
I want to know how I want to know how Bruce Willis gets there.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was out and about post split.
And well, I think he probably gets arrested trying to stop something, and he gets put in there because he starts explaining like, "No, I have these powers, and gets thrown in the asylum." That's my guess.
That would be my guess too. Like he goes after the Beast, and they both get arrested somehow.
Yeah.
So
and Glass gets arrested just because he's been yelling since the end of Unbreakable.
Well, presumably he's been in an asylum since the last one. So
okay.
Yeah.
But he's still just like at the door, just like, yeah.
Called me Mr. Glass. Yeah. You like me? Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, for the M. Night Shyamalan comes and goes in cycles where he's just like intolerable, and then I'm like, that was okay. Now I think for the first time in a long time, I was like, hey, I'm actually excited for something he's making.
Yeah. I'm excited. The poster's good, so at least it's not like a crappy poster with a floating head. All of them in a or
Let me tell you something, Marvel. You guys just gotta fucking work on your poster game because.
Or if anybody's ever seen the posters that they did for First Class, where it was James McAvoy, in front of Patrick Stewart's head at like 50% opacity. It's real bad. Go look that poster up.
That's
if you want to
shit I've ever heard.
Well, Marvel, I noticed it specifically with the new Ant-Man and the Wasp poster, is that they've released individual shots of each of the characters that are in it, and then all they did was take those individual shots and then put them in a single poster together. Which seems like the laziest thing on earth to me.
Yeah,
like at least have an original scene for the poster.
That's
that
a shame
has everybody
because
in it.
the advertising for Ant-Man was amazing. Like like see Ant-Man here, first poster like right with an arrow pointing down to like a speck on a curve or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they did something similar with a newer poster for Ant-Man and the Wasp, where it's just them very tiny running along the top of, I think, either Ant-Man and the Wasp. But still, like it's playing too much of the same thing from the original.
Also, the Ant-Man ad campaign had that bizarre TV spot where it's just that like Michael Douglas and Paul Rudd patting their legs rhythmically, going ants.
Yep. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if some of that was some of the Edgar Wright carryover.
Probably. And then just like slam cuts to ants was the strangest thing ever. And they go, Ant-Man! And it ends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah.
I don't know what this next thing is, by the way. The Feige thing.
Kevin Feige, he confirmed a couple things. Let me see. What was there? Okay, so they won't be announcing a title for Infinity War Part 2 or whatever it's
Avengers 4.
Right, until after we get a Captain Marvel teaser.
Yeah.
Like that's the bulk of it. That's the real meat of this story.
Which they just started filming Captain Marvel, didn't they? If I remember correctly.
They're like midway through.
Okay.
Okay. Last I heard, at least. So they're partway through. They'll probably have something for Comic-Con, but yeah. That's all we really know. But
and it'll leak the next day, and then we'll get an HD version within weeks.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. Although they said something about the teaser coming in September or October, which is cool.
To their credit, the Infinity War trailer, they managed not to have that leak at all. They had that one leak, and then they didn't come out with it in HD. They just kept on to it. They're just like, nope. So maybe they'll hold their ground a little bit better than they have in the past.
Well, I think Infinity War is probably a bit more risky than the what would they do? It was for Ultron, where it leaked, and they were like, they went, damn it, Hydra, and then just released an HD version instead.
Yep. Yeah. That was a good day. That was a very good day.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, there was one or two other things that were of interest in the Feige talking about stuff, but I don't remember what they were. It's a little bit about Spider-Man too. Yeah, I know he recently announced that there's going to be a Doctor Strange 2, which basically is just a big duh. We all knew that.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of Spider-Man and sequels, I want to burst some people's bubbles. We're not getting a movie with him alone on Titan. Stop it.
What?
Stop.
What?
Stop it.
What? Okay.
Wait. People took Far From Home as like, well, that's what he was gonna. That's what he's doing when he comes back on Titan. What? No. No.
No, this is supposed to take place after the next Avengers movie.
He's gonna come back.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to take place with him in Europe, apparently.
Yeah,
that's everything
exactly.
that we've heard.
That
is what Feige sort of what Feige confirmed.
It's not a terribly common thing I've seen, but I've seen it enough times to go, what? What
is wrong with people?
Listen, you people, Affleck is not Deathstroke.
Affleck isn't anything to do with the DC universe anymore.
Careful, you'll get Affleck truthers coming after you.
I mean, is he? I don't even know one way or the other because it seems every day of the week there's a new answer.
I'm gonna go with what the director of the Batman film has said, which is no, he's not involved with it. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
One of ours is like, ha 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 ha. He doesn't represent us.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I'm expecting him to be out, but the way they're going about just actually telling people is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
It's very strange the way that Warner Brothers is acting in general. Who'd have thunk?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Speed round, guys. Speed round. Okay.
That was the speed round. It's over.
Yeah, it's I think it's the shortest speed round we've ever done, but still. Yeah. Okay. Our only main story, because that's just how things work out. Jeremy Irons, among other things, has been confirmed to be in the Lindelof Watchmen, which...
Well, I mean,
whatever.
Look, having personally experienced the idea that Jeremy Irons cannot save a train wreck, as I watched Dungeons & Dragons 3 times over the course of the week, he can't do it.
No,
he came close. Because let me tell you, his scenes in that movie are fantastic.
Right.
Of course they are.
And he doesn't save BVS either.
No, he just looks upset the whole time.
No, he's so visibly angry the entire time.
And it makes for like a really good performance because that Alfred is supposed to be like so tired of Bruce's shit at this point. It's not even funny.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm here because I owe a debt to your family and I'll never leave. But God, you suck.
Well, it's like they took the hard-nosed version of him from the Earth 1 storyline that came out recently, and then just said, "Nah, let's not do anything interesting with that. Let's just make him cantankerous, but nothing else."
I mean, you could do something interesting right away if you had Affleck kick out that wooden leg from underneath him.
Yeah, exactly.
And Alfred just go, "You son of a bitch!"
Yeah, and then beat him horribly because he has SAS training. But nah, why would they do that?
I love that whole sequence of pages and panels because Alfred's like beating the fuck out of Bruce, and then Bruce goes low and kicks the wooden leg, and Alfred's like, "You piece of shit! Like, can't believe you did that."
Yep.
And they realize he's like, "That was really smart. Good job." Like, I don't have it. I've lost feelings on this Watchmen show because I just don't care about it anymore.
Well, the thing I had read was like apparently Jeremy Irons is going to play some European royalty of some sort, which great, real big reach for him. Like, let's go with this guy. You want to
get me to care a little bit? Tell me who's playing the older versions of the characters that I remember. Like, then my interest will go by like 1 or 2% because they're not telling me anything about the story I'm familiar with. They're just like, hey, we got Don Johnson. He's in a cop uniform. Isn't this wonderful?
Yeah, it's beginning to really seem like it might be Lindelof doing what Lindelof does best, which is just fucking things up.
I mean, I really hope not.
I
see what you mean though. Like,
but we've all said it before too that I think we're all sick of the Watchmen nostalgia.
Yeah, that too.
Because it hasn't produced anything that's really making waves. So
well, and even the Watchmen movie that Snyder directed, like
It's fine.
Yeah,
it's great.
I mean, I really enjoy it, but I mean, it's not something that made a lot of waves either for a very like well done comic book movie of something that people said was unfilmable.
It's the best movie Zack Snyder's ever going to make.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty much. You got it all out there.
And quite frankly, like, if we're gonna have a Watchmen movie, I'm okay with keeping this one. Like, I don't think I would trade it for anything because I think it's exquisite.
Yeah, I think we got something good enough. That's the term I use. It's
the amount of
dedication
and care that Snyder like obviously put into that movie is very respectable, and I can't really look down on it.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Shit, I was even watching
I totally agree.
I was watching some clip from I found the BVS fight scene with life bars, and I was having a grand time watching it. And I was just sitting there watching it, and I'm like, I don't want to hate this, but I hate it, but I don't want to, because some of it's good, and some of it's terrible.
I mean, that can be said about a lot of things.
Yeah, it looks wonderful. I think that fight scene's cool as hell.
Yeah,
he hit Superman with a kitchen sink.
Yeah.
Or a bathroom sink, whatever.
Like, I can't deny any of this, but also, like... Why does he stick a Jolly Rancher in an older man's mouth?
That's indefensible. That's where the movie just loses you.
I'm like, what's going on here?
Why is there a jar of piss? Like, that's...
Why?
Yeah.
And also, the people who are like, it's never confirmed it was a jar of piss. It doesn't matter. The insinuation is more than enough.
Exactly. Like, really, there's people who didn't think that was an actual jar of piss. And the bigger question is that Lex Luthor's piss, or is that one of his stoolies that he just had pee in this jar?
I don't know.
I have that no sequence idea. Alone, there's so much to pull off that sequence that is infuriating. Because between just blowing Mercy Graves up offhandedly, the jar of piss, and then post-explosion Superman going, dang it, and then just flying away like an asshole, like...
Yep.
Yep. Unlike in the extended cut where you see him like saving people and helping people. It's
and that's why he gets ejected because he didn't save enough, so he leaves.
Nobody wants to see that. Let's just have him fly off like an emo boy. Come on. Nobody
right, because that's what the kids like. The kids like him emo. They like him to fly away as soon as possible. I know, the kids. I have herpes of the eye.
Is your Hollywood producer like 117 years old, like just being kept alive with money alone?
He's being kept alive by the blood of children. He's just having it pumped into him.
There's like Hollywood meetings that are going on, and someone hears in the background, and then some like machine rolls in, this like half-dead Hollywood exec from 1910.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's being kept alive by the blood of children and liquefied money.
Like, and he puts a microphone to his throat.
Yeah. Oh, not even that. He puts a microphone up to the fishbowl that his head is in because it has to be kept with saline to keep him from drying out. Yeah. Yeah, they've got him in liquid oxygen. Like,
it's like the abyss.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's fucking Mr. House from New Vegas. He's just like a piece of flesh wedged into a computer. Alan, I think you're the only one. Wait, who here has played New Vegas?
I have not.
Wait, who else?
I am
not.
I have not.
Oh, Fallout New Vegas is awesome.
It's one of those games that I always meant to get around to, but every time I started playing it, I'm like, I don't have the time or inclination to really sit down and get into this, and I drifted away from it.
Fallout New Vegas does the one thing that like I wish more RPG systems with morality would do, in that you have a reputation that follows you around.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so if you murder somebody in Good Springs, if you come back, they're like, "Hey, step across that line, we'll shoot you."
Well, I'm not prone to murdering people wantonly in video games, so I would probably be okay.
Why do I not believe you?
I don't believe a single thing you said.
I am avatar of bright and shining light whenever I play a video game.
Oh man, I did an all Renegade Mass Effect 2 playthrough. That was just the fucking time of my life.
Yeah, I never got around to doing that.
Renegade douchebag Shepard is the he just looks for shortcuts and is happy with that. I think at some point he's interrogating some dude, and you can just opt for a Renegade option. You just punch him out a window.
Yes.
Damn.
And Garrus is like, wow, Shepard, that was a little extreme.
The only game I've ever been like, I'm gonna play villain is Infamous, because I feel like they make it so easy to play bad guy.
Well, you dump it down to the point where you feel like a child. They're like, here's your good and bad options. Good option is save the orphanage. The bad option is burn this box of kittens.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you play the vampire mode, you can just like eat children.
Yes.
Oh my god!
like,
what?
Yeah. No, the vampire.
Have you never played the vampire version?
I have never
the
played
vampire
Infamous.
deal.
Oh,
wow.
No, I'm sorry. No. I played the first one. That's how I know that.
Okay.
And I played. The thing is, I played Prototype first, which
Okay.
I like a little more, just because it's so fucking ridiculous.
Well, it was also made by the people who made Hulk: Ultimate Destruction. Which
Exactly.
That game was awesome.
It's kind of sloppy, but you can let me pick up an old man, climb a building, throw him through the air,
Right.
fly after him, grab him with a tendril, and throw him into a helicopter.
Oh, see, I always preferred like doing the longest ever like I've always got like a body slam or something along those lines. Like just you grab somebody and you jump from the tallest building you can.
Oh,
and
you just
pull a wrestling
power bomb them
from
30,000 feet in the air.
Yes, yeah, from like 12 stories up.
Really satisfying.
Yep. Yeah, you bumped into me, old man. Let's see what your head looks like.
Let's see what you look like at terminal velocity.
Yep.
What's next?
Predator trailer.
Because I don't think we have anything else to say about Watchmen. I have a fuck ton to say about the Predator trailer.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This
it's
movie
so
looks rad, and I'm still confused as to like what the canon is, and that's making it more interesting.
Yeah, in my head, and regardless of what it says in the movie, this is what it is in my head. They created the super predator to fight the wolf predators. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Is that like this is their hydrogen bomb to the A bomb or something.
Well, hold on. Are you referring to the predator that landed in AVP2?
No, so the wolf predators are there's multiple names for them, but the predators from Predators, they're called wolf.
I've heard them referred to as super predators. So I guess like what we have in this movie is like an ultra predator or something. I don't even know.
Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, Lawrence Fishburne says it. I call them wolf predators because of what Lawrence Fishburne says. He says they're like dogs and wolves. The wolves hunt dogs and vice versa. Sometimes.
Okay.
So I've always called them wolf predators.
So I think the code name for the predator from AVP2 was the wolf predator.
That was like his actual name. Like in Predator language.
Yeah.
I can see the confusion. There is an official name. It's the Yutcha.
Yeah, something like that.
Yutcha. That's the official name of
That sounds like Ewok speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yautja.
No thanks.
Yeah.
And I was surprised because I didn't know I was watching the Red Band trailer, and wow, they brought the good stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. There wasn't even really a warning that it was a Red Band trailer.
No,
I went into it, and it's just like, oh, there's blood everywhere. There's awesome.
Blood and guts all over the place, and people are swearing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And although that your mom's vagina E for everyone joke was dead on arrival, and I hope it gets cut from the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is one of the worst jokes I have ever heard.
Okay. Well, I agree. In context, I think it might work better. If that guy is supposed to be the Shane Black character from the first movie, like I think it might work better then, because I get the feeling that he might be. I think context is going to be everything. If everybody else thinks that that's a bad joke, but they don't in the trailer, I can see why. Like, because everybody laughs at it like really loudly, really.
Well, and it's also, it looks like they're obviously setting something up to get out of the van or whatever it is, the school bus they're in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I'm guessing that might be he's just saying something really a bad joke to get the other guy angry, quote unquote.
Wouldn't it be the best if like that bus tips over, there's predators ripping people apart, and then a bearded Harrison Ford stumbles in from off screen like, oh, I gotta go back.
I didn't murder my wife.
I should not be here.
God damn it.
Tommy Lee Jones like,
I don't care.
It was like 5 minutes late. He's like, damn it.
And then is garroted by a predator.
Yeah. They're both chased to a dam, and they have to.
This looks like it's hitting everything I've wanted out of a Predator sequel in a very long time. Like, I haven't rewatched Predators in a while, so I can't really speak on that. But yeah, this is looking like all of the 80s hits that they got right with the first two Predators, and they're condensing it into a stronger budget and all the current special effects they can fit in. So yeah, I'm into it. Yeah,
I don't know. It looks good as a follow up to Predator. It looks very strong, I would say. At one point, fucking, God damn it, I can't remember his name. The guy from Logan, he's wearing a Predator gauntlet on one of his arms.
Oh, noticed that.
Which is so cool.
Yep.
Like, that's the kind of shit that I'm excited about.
Well, that's why I like AVP2 over the first one, because that one, like, the Predator he unmounts his shoulder cannon and just turns it into a pistol.
Oh, wow.
And then he's just blasting people. It's so cool.
That is very cool. Yeah.
That's where that like wheel of death, that wheel of just blades that he's holding, that's also an AVP2.
Oh, okay.
Because that produces the best unintentional comedy from AVP2. It's like it's this weird. There's a budding relationship in this movie between people you just don't care about, and at some point something happens and this girl kind of runs off. And a Predator's fighting an alien.
I remember you telling us about this.
And he throws the blade, it kills the alien, and just, like, impales this girl on the wall like a rag doll, and then they never mention her again.
God.
No. The kid brother who is in love with the girl who dies, he tries to kill the Predator, and it just, like punches him or something.
Yeah, it just knocks him over.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, Predators was great. I'm sorry, The Predator.
Yeah, Predator looks good. I hope Royce shows up at the end. He's like, I got off the planet.
I'm here in my Batman voice.
But yeah, I do hope that this does, like, because everything we've heard says that they're gonna respect everything that came before. So maybe they're leaving it open for another sequel. I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious to see what happens.
At this point, I can only imagine that they would greenlight this if they're like, this has to have sequel potential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. All right. Next one, Rebbecca Ferguson from Mission Impossible 5. She's going to be in Mission Impossible 6. One of the first recurring female leads in this whole franchise. She's going to be in the sequel to The Shining, technically. The Dr. Sleep movie with Ian McGregor. So, yeah.
Who did she play in Mission Impossible 5?
She plays this sort of British female agent. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that in a while. I couldn't remember.
I haven't seen a single Mission Impossible movie since, like, the first one.
Oh man!
Wow.
And it's because the second one came out. I was like, I don't care. And then 3 came out. I was like, I still don't care. And then it kind of went away for a while. And then what was it? Ghost Protocol.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That came out to universal buzz, and I just missed it. And then what was the? Oh, this is the 5th one now, right? Yeah, this is the 5th one now.
This is the 6th one that's going to come out.
Oh my god!
The last one was Rogue Nation.
Yes.
And that's if you ask me, that's the best one so far.
Oh really? I still think Ghost Protocol is the best one, but.
Yeah, but it didn't have a connection to the previous film.
Hey, well, you know. Well, no, it did. It had a direct connection to Part 3.
Mm-hmm. It did. I don't know. To me, that 5 is when they put all the pieces together for me. They figured out who needs to be on the team. Mm-hmm. They had a female lead who didn't feel disposable. They just everything came together, and then there was a thing that was set up in that movie that didn't feel like it would just be disposed of by the end, which is the Rogue Nation from the title is the sort of the Spectre or the Hydra to IMF. This sort of group of assassins who have made it their job to sabotage everything IMF does for the sake of money and things of that nature. Just pure chaos.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know the movies had pulled the Fast and the Furious and just gotten better as time went on.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They figured out what to do in the 5th movie, like Fast and the Furious.
Honestly, though, Part 3 isn't bad. Like
it's not bad.
It's not the best, but I mean, you've got Philip Seymour Hoffman as the main villain, which I think
I agree.
That's a great choice, even though
He's good.
It's hard for me to watch movies with him in it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you get to see is it Carrie Russell, isn't it? You get to see her die in the very beginning of the movie, so that's pretty great.
Yeah. She dies from like a brain explosion or something.
Yeah, there's like a microscopic bomb in her brain. Yeah.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, she dies like gruesomely. Like you see her like throw up blood while she's it's dark.
Part 3 is kind of where they rebooted the series, like and
but still until 5, I don't think there was anything uniform about the series though.
No, but I feel like Part 3 was where they rebooted it and decided to be like, all right, this is Ethan Hunt going forward. So so the Ethan Hunt in Part 5 is the same one from Part 3, but I wouldn't say he's the same one from Part 2. Like it feels like a different version of Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if he was really a character before. Like,
no,
I don't think he was.
He was a placeholder. He was just action guy A.
Yeah, he was generic action guy, and depending on what Tom Cruise wanted to play, is who he was. And like again, like in 5, like his character he's a guy who doesn't like what he's doing. Like he's frustrated that he's even there. Which is something that I really glommed onto. I don't know. I do like the 4th one. The 4th one is good. If you're gonna watch any of them, watch 4 and 5. Before 6.
MI2 left a permanent mark on me without even seeing it because the fucking music that came from it.
Well, wasn't that
that movie's bad though.
That was the John Woo directed one, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, that's got the Metallica song "I Disappear." And
that's the one that has the Limp Bizkit song.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot about that.
There was a period in time where we were just letting Fred Durst do things.
Well, that's because he was very rich at the time. So.
Stupid us.
Yeah.
Hot dog flavored water, guys. Hot dog flavored water. I decided that was okay.
Starfish.
Yes, of course. Who could forget Limp?
No, let's forget about all of that.
Let's all forget about Limp Bizkit. Anyway, what's the next story?
Yeah.
All right. We didn't actually talk about the story. We went on to a Mission Impossible tangent. Okay. Whatever. None of you know who she is. So I guess.
Yeah.
I don't remember her, but I also haven't watched Part 5 in a very long time, so I need to rectify that this weekend.
I mean, she's the most interesting part of the whole movie, which is why I'm dumbfounded.
Like, I vaguely remember who she is, but it's been a while since I've seen that movie, so my memory of it is light at best.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's a badass, so that's all you need to know. She's good also. Like, she has fucking who's the girl who played Amazing Amy? Fucking shit. I'm blanking on her name right now. But she has Rosamund Pike syndrome for me, where it's like, why hasn't she been in everything after this? Okay. Why wasn't she in every single movie afterwards as the female lead? So yeah, she's good. I'm glad that she'll be in it. Okay, next story. This one was requested of us.
This is the strangest story I think we're ever going to have to talk about.
Do we have to?
Part of me refuses to believe this movie is real.
It has to be. It has to be. Like, it has to be just because how bizarre this is.
I've been ignoring this movie also.
Oh, blissfully.
I would say, like, I didn't want to think this was real. But the deadline broke that Jim Carrey will be... Okay, Jim Carrey is going to be playing Dr. Eggman.
Dr. Eggman Robotnik from Sonic the Hedgehog in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. What the fuck?
I have so many questions. Will he be in makeup? Will he be CGI? What are they going to do with this?
Why? Why? Just why this? Why all of this? Why this thing? Please.
I don't know.
I don't
know.
Look, I'm just gonna take this stance, and I'm probably gonna. Joe, I apologize, but I want Sonic fandom to just die. I want it to go away.
I really
sorry, but like, have you seen the monstrosities you've all created?
Mm-hmm.
I really hope
They won't be happy until the whole world is dead.
I really hope we see something like what we got, like the Netflix documentary of Man on the Moon, but with this.
Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
God
and
damn it.
that's what makes me think that it's going to be Jim Carrey in prosthetics. Like, I can see him being like, no, I don't want to be CGI'd. I need prosthetics. Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah.
I'm having flashbacks to
I'm sorry to those few of you who I actually care about, but like Sonic fandom is so weird that it is aggressively off-putting, and that's really might be kind of a shitty thing to say about a bunch of people I don't know. But have you been on the internet?
You mean people who would do something like he couldn't hold it? It was coming as fast as lightning. He had to release. Sonic was just too good at this, and speed was his specialty. He said he never mentioned that sucking cock was a skill.
Front of you?
Yes, I do.
God damn it! Why did you?
Of course he does.
I understand every fandom has a Rule 34, but very rarely does the Rule 34 of that fandom like bleed into my everyday life.
Oh God, that was the thing.
Much as Sonic the Hedgehog does.
All I did was write in the Google search most vile Sonic fanfic, and I found the first thing that popped up.
Well, for God's sake.
So let me see. Sonic lurched backwards off his friend's penis as thick white liquid flew from the top.
Okay, please stop.
This show has new heights of obscenity.
It arcs over Sonic's head.
I'm gonna put a disturbing content warning in the show this week.
The line that caught my attention when I was skimming, though, it arced over Sonic's head almost like it didn't like him.
Also, another hot take. Most Sonic games are really bad and really broken.
Yeah, that's the thing. Even the original ones on the Genesis weren't. I didn't think they were that great.
I don't enjoy them. I
don't, Eric. You shouldn't say that. You really shouldn't. You don't know what you've unleashed.
I played them at the time. I played them when they were coming out, and I was.
But you were just an old man, and you don't know what the kids like.
I know. I was 108 at that point, and I didn't understand.
It's not like our generation came up with a Sega Genesis and saw these games at launch.
Yeah. Well, their entire videos devoted to how good Sonic 2 is, or how good like the menu options on Sonic 3 are.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there are people who like the Sonic games are so great. The menu teaches you how to play the game. Okay, that means nothing to me. That
shouldn't playing the game fucking teach you how to play the game instead of. Okay.
I know.
Anyway,
I know.
Moving on.
I remember being in high school and having this conversation. This is our last of our stories, so
I know
we can end here or we can keep on going. Dude, just talk about shit. I don't know.
Probably shoot the shit for a while.
Yeah. But that's the thing. There's so many other games that came out on the Genesis that deserve so much more love than fucking Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, Gunstar Heroes.
Yes. Any of the Landstalker games or any of the Shining in the Darkness games, like
or Night Trap. My favorite game.
Hey.
Technically, that was a Sega CD game.
Why did we have to go there?
It wasn't even. It wasn't even a Sega CD game.
I was connecting this to my appearance on VGH, where we talked about Night Trap, because Night Trap, guys, Night Trap exists. There are vampires wearing goggles.
I implore anybody to go
Plato.
Watch Night Trap videos and think about the fact that at some point this game was considered to be controversial.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. I don't.
This is the dumbest, tamest shit I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, though. I know for a fact that there's somebody out there who, because of that game, they have a fetish for what they see in that game.
Probably.
Yeah.
So they must be so disappointed now.
Listen, Sandra, I need you to let me capture you with this giant collar before I can finish. I'm sorry, it's my particular kink.
Before I drag you stage left, and then you're just presumed dead.
And then I need you to hit the button on this remote so the TV shows a picture of me falling into this pit I've dug. It's the only way we can do this.
It's funny, that game gets brought up a lot, but no one ever brings up Phantasmagoria, which is like one of the most horrifically violent games I've ever played in the computer.
I got that game when I was like 13 for Christmas.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty tame. Like it doesn't do much until the last disc,
Mm-hmm.
And then like some demon is reaching into your face with his thumbs and pulling your head apart piece by piece in live action like special effects.
Yeah, that was one of that was obviously one of the deaths. But yeah, I mean, there was actually quite a few really gory deaths in that game.
Well, yeah, because you had flashbacks of something like this dude who the mansion you're living in like murdered all of his wives.
Oh, I remember this one. We talked about that one on that episode also.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like 9 or 10 discs. Like I thought it was the coolest thing ever. But yeah, it was.
Remember when you had to do multiple discs? That doesn't really happen anymore.
I'm sorry. When I say discs, I meant CDs. Like it was a game that had like full motion video. So yeah, it was.
I thought you meant those like little mini discs.
No, not the
I'm
3.5
joking, but
inch.
Yeah.
Oh well, I mean, I do remember the time console games had multiple discs. Final Fantasy VII was on 3 CDs.
Well, I mean, I joke about them not having those, but the version of Red Dead I have has 2 discs actually, so never mind. But
wow.
Well, but that's
Max Payne 3 had 2 discs when I got it, and not because length, because that game is just beautiful, and I think it just needed to be split in 2 to run.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Great.
Huh?
PS3 or X360?
Yeah.
Which version?
Oh, I had the 360 version.
Right. So the worst version.
I mean, probably. It doesn't matter. Look, no hardware degradation or inferiority could make Max Payne 3 a bad game.
Right.
Nothing.
That's what I've heard. I didn't add that one to the list actually. I will
Max
now.
Payne 3 is Man on Fire plus like several
That's
other like it's part of like what is that Shane Black movie with Tom Cruise? Is it Shane Black? What is it?
With Tom Cruise?
What's
Do you mean Robert Downey Jr.?
No, okay, I could be way off base here. What's the movie with Tom Cruise where he's got the gray hair and the weird gray suit?
Oh, Collateral.
That's Collateral.
Movie.
Okay, like there's
your favorite
director.
director.
There's a whole homage to Collateral in Max Payne 3.
Damn.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a homage to Thief.
There might be. The game it borrows like the floating text from Man on Fire, and so like that will pop up for emphasis on certain lines of dialogue.
Yeah, it's without all of its homages though, then it's just also Max Payne just being beat up and tired old man.
It is like it's the best send off for that character I could have asked for.
Right.
Because like a happy ending for Max is really not something you'd think about because granted, a lot of bad things happen to him, but he's a piece of shit. Like,
it also erased that terrible movie, probably. So that's a good thing.
Maybe I was overinterpreting it, but I felt like with the bullet time, like in part 3, it felt like it tired Max out when you were using it. Like it seemed like it was actually like physically affecting him.
Tires Max out. Like he gets up and he's exhausted.
Yeah.
That's because the night before he stumbles around his apartment throwing down painkillers and alcohol and just like falls through glass tables. He's a mess.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
I love the character of Max, and like I hope we maybe get a 4th game, maybe a reboot something. I think he's too fascinating to just put down.
Speaking of characters we love, we found out something earlier this week while recording Luke Cage. Do you know what we're talking about, Alan?
No.
Oh, you don't know that we found out that you didn't watch Luke Cage because of the actor who played, what the hell was his name? Bobby or whatever? What the hell, man? What?
You didn't watch the show because an actor in this show died in another show?
Yeah. Apparently.
It's more of an emotional thing.
Okay.
But he's fine. He's right there. Look at him. He's a new person.
He exists. He's there.
He reincarnated.
I mean, that's like me saying I can't watch anything with Robert Downey Jr. in it because he was an asshole in Weird Science.
Right. Exactly.
It's
like saying you can't watch Gary Oldman in anything because he was in that Lost in Space movie and he turned into a giant spider. Like,
I can't even picture him in that movie anymore.
Yeah, no,
I only picture the giant spider, and it's so bad.
I don't remember him turning into a giant spider in that. I remember some things about that movie, but yeah, I don't remember that part.
Yeah, he like takes his cloak off, and what he's been hiding under the cloak is basically like this kind of this condensed body that's all like legs and like an extra torso or some shit like that. He's hiding an extra form under that cloak.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so he's like two kids wearing a trench coat.
That is exactly what he is.
Except they're horribly pulsating masses.
Actually, Alan. In addition, because I got these games because I went to GameStop today, and there was a buy two get one free thing. The wrestling bug has bit me, and I bought 2K18 again.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm having a. Here's the thing. I was saying this in the chat today. I miss wrestling, and I'm trying to find a way to get back into it without it rotting my brain.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, I don't know what to tell you.
Nice.
Yeah, we don't know what to tell you, man. Like, that's life. I don't know, man.
I mean, I know you probably want current roster of wrestlers, but the last thing I ever played wrestling-wise was WWE Superstars, the one that was a super arcadey game.
Oh, yeah, the arcade fighting game kind of thing?
Yeah, that game was great.
Everything was just ridiculous?
Yeah, everybody was just... They looked like giant steroid monsters, and their moves would launch them 30 feet into the air, and it was great. And I had such a good time with it. But outside of that, don't care.
I mean, I'm having fun with this game because I immediately excise all of the like real wrestlers from the universe mode, which is like a never-ending calendar mode of shows you can just play. And it has randomized cutscenes and kind of shenanigans and whatever. It is delightfully busted, so when cutscenes do happen, they're hilarious because they just kind of happen out of context. And then the game breaks, and it also creates hilarity.
You mean like the referee getting stuck in the ring?
Yes, yeah, or him teleporting up into the air and out of the arena and out of existence.
They poochie him.
Yes, I have to go back to my home planet now.
He went back to his home planet of referees. Yeah.
No, I just make all the people I know and stick them in the game as cartoon characters, basically.
Oh yeah, I forgot you made an Action Bronson version. Of
Alan is like I made Alan like probably 600 pounds of muscle. He's just this giant.
I'm patiently awaiting to see what my character looks like.
Oh, I had you in 2K16 because I made a bunch of people from the ice level. Like Ryan Hess is in there. He demanded all the American sumo, so I just put him in Rikishi's diaper.
Well, that was back when I had a giant beard and before you actually knew me at all. So yes. I'll be curious to see. Yeah,
no, but there's been some W pay-per-views on the past few weeks, and I can't muster up the energy to watch them, and it sucks to have to just look at this and go, this is something I used to really love, and now I want it nowhere near me.
All your heroes betray you eventually.
This is true.
No, it's not even my heroes. Here, I just need one thing. I need Vince McMahon to die. I need him to die.
But that's the thing. When he dies, his soul will transfer into the body of his daughter.
I don't think he's going to die. That's the problem.
Poor Triple H. It'll be like
Yeah,
that's
apparently
true.
he's healthier than most people I know. From what the stories I hear is that he's a neat freak, a germaphobe, like an exercise nut. He doesn't smoke. He doesn't drink. He has no vices.
So he'll live for another 100 years. Then,
exactly.
Weren't you the one who was telling us about the time that he was on like a plane when you could smoke?
Yeah, the story about how he got the $1 Million Man gimmick was that some dude was smoking on the plane, and he kept trying to give him money to make him stop, and raise the number until the guy finally agreed, and Vince paid this dude like $20,000 to stop smoking. Jesus and he said, "See that? Everybody's got a price," and that's where that gimmick allegedly came from.
See, what you do is you get the money from him, and then you light up a cigarette and blow the smoke in his face right after that.
Well, no, because I think Vince would kill somebody.
That's true.
I also heard a story that he will nix storyline ideas and other creative endeavors, depending on how his meal was. I heard some story that he thought he had a fit and canceled some storyline because his steak wasn't cooked well enough.
That actually sounds about right. That sounds about right for his insanity.
Yeah, I remember some interview, I think it was maybe Jim Cornette or someone else. He joked that the Isaac Yankem gimmick was because Vince had a bad dentist appointment.
Yep.
Great.
I've also heard his germophobia is to the point where some writer was interviewed recently. He said that if you're standing by Vince and there's a bowl of candy nearby, you are not allowed to take a piece of candy from the bowl. You have to take the bowl, pour some into your hand, and then eat it with one hand and shake with the other one, basically, not use the other hand to eat it. And if you're going to get more, that hand must be the hand the candy goes into, because the other one's been sullied.
Okay. You know, I Hunter, I need you to get me the bubble. I need to get in the bubble, Hunter. Nothing would shock me at this point.
I mean, I'm not surprised that an industry as carny as wrestling is, or at least the WWE, because it's in Japan. It's like firing on all cylinders. It's amazing. New Japan is incredible. Arlen, I know I sent you a match. I don't know if you've watched it yet. But that's from New Japan. And like New Japan treats wrestling like it's a sporting event.
Oh, that video that you sent me a while ago. Yeah, I watched some of it. I watched as much as I could.
It's long.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. It's very long, but it's, again, like, I would be way more interested in that than anything WWE is ever doing. Like,
well, back when I used to watch wrestling, like, everybody that I actually really liked, like Cactus Jack and God, what's his name? The one who was Mankind.
Mick Foley.
Mick Foley. And like a lot of the great wrestlers during that era, like the late 90s, early 2000s, all had a huge career in Japan before they came back to the WWE.
Yeah.
And that's because Japan knew how to treat them and had them doing all of this insane stuff that played for the audience so well.
Also, like watching a Japanese show is very strange because the crowd, they're quiet most of the time, and then you have to basically like work to get them unglued.
Yeah,
and it's weird to have wrestling with just no sound, it's just commentators. It's like a golfing match.
Yeah,
but it adds to the sporting event feel of it because there's no hokey backstage segments, like there's no midgets or leprechauns or fucking dancing oiled up naked dudes. Like it's all. Like there's press conferences where people act dead serious and they're going to do a scuffle there. Security comes and separates them. They treat it so deathly serious that it feels legitimate. It's not, but it feels legitimate.
Well, wait, you mean the matches where they're going to lower a man into a vat of piranhas if he loses?
Hey. Look, I watched Wrestling Society X when it was on MTV, and let me tell you something. Arlen, you thought Lucha Underground was crazy?
Yeah.
Wrestling Society X was so over the top and stupid, it was basically like it was impenetrable and was just canceled offhandedly.
See, that was the thing. Like, my friend used to work for one of the video companies that actually got legit after they stopped selling stuff illegally online and in kiosks at the mall. But that's where I saw some of the best, like, Japanese wrestling matches, and that's where I really learned about like Cactus Jack and Mick Foley, like the exploding barbed wire matches, and and that's where I first saw like thumbtack matches.
Oh yeah. Here's the thing. Here's how this works. Like the ropes were replaced with barbed wire, and then the corners and some weird kind of like pieces of wood with more barbed wire onto them outside are like rigged with these very small explosives.
But they make a loud noise and
they make a very loud noise. They make a lot of smoke, and it's shocking. And like the point is basically just like throw your opponent into this explosive barbed wire.
Yep. And then the thumbtack matches where they have a giant balloon filled with thumbtacks that eventually explodes, and they were great.
Insane.
I have a binder full of shows from a company called Dragon Gate, which I've probably spoken about before, and it's this very like anime video game influence company from Japan where everybody's split into like gangs. Like everyone's in a unit. There's nobody who's by themselves. Everybody's in a ridiculous like color-coded unit. And they have these insane matches, and I got these DVDs from some guy from Chicago who was like ripping the Japanese pay-per-view feed onto his TV and then burning them onto discs.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, and they include the Japanese commercials on the DVDs I have. It is so cool. Because it's not just I got like a little book of like Japanese culture samples. Like
that's awesome.
It's so cool.
That's actually something my wife and I like to do. We'll just go onto YouTube and look up a Japanese game show and just watch hours of just various Japanese game show clips.
Have you seen the Wonder Core commercials?
No, what are those?
They're Japanese ads for this like little ab roller nonsense, but all the commercials are these weird setups where someone is always getting knocked down by this ridiculous thing like a boulder or a monster or a door or a punch or something, and he lands directly into this workout device. And then like does a little sit up.
That's awesome.
Like it's just one of them is just a montage of like Old Man Winter blowing ice at this guy, him slipping in a shower, a pro wrestler clotheslining him. It's ridiculous.
Oh God, that sounds amazing. I could watch that for hours. No, the one two of the things we'd watched recently on YouTube were it was from an older variety show. So it was a troupe of comedians, which I'm sure you've probably seen them on some video on YouTube, just Japanese comedy show. But the contest they were having was they had to recite a tongue twister or a poem as quickly as possible. And if they got anything wrong, they were slapped in the nuts with a riding crop that was attached to a machine in front of them. It's the greatest thing on earth. The other thing is, I don't know what the actual title of it is, but people would walk into an elevator expecting it to be an elevator, and all of a sudden the floor drops out and they're dropped onto a slide that's covered in like some sort of oil. But the great thing is, you see them walk in, they hit the button, then all of a sudden the bottom drops out from underneath them, and they have a camera that's recording in slow motion as they fall. So you get to see their facial expressions. Yes.
I don't know what it is about, like, Japanese game shows are just, they have a very strong commitment to human suffering.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like MXC, I don't know how some people survive some of the stuff on what was known in Japan as Takeshi's Castle. Over here, Most Extreme Elimination Challenge on Spike TV. Some of those like falls those people take just look like they broke so many bones.
Yeah, they're paralyzed. They're like the thugs in Arkham Knight and Arkham Asylum. Yeah.
Paralyzed. In Arkham Knight, some of those dudes are dead.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I feel like Takeshi's Castle was like even less extreme than some of the stuff I saw when I was a kid. Like, the one video store near us had a videotape. It was, oh God, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a Japanese game show, and it was just all these horrible different things. Like, one of the competitions was they had to drink like two, like, I want to say about 40 ounces of beer, like 2 giant mugs, and whoever could hold their pee the longest while they were standing on the beach at the ocean was the winner. And there were different things they're doing to bring up and try and get them to pee. And you could see these guys obviously poisoning themselves with their own urine.
Oh my God.
There's another thing where they were laying on their backs and they had tubes going into their mouths, and whatever they dropped down, they had to eat.
Oh.
Another one was they were sitting in a little like vat that had live frogs swimming around them, and they had to eat fried frogs the whole time that they were sitting in a vat full of living frogs.
That is dark.
Yeah, it was great. I was like 12 when I saw it. It was the funniest thing on earth.
For some reason, I'm thinking of this is like old Comedy Central. You guys remember Trigger Happy TV?
Vaguely.
Trigger Happy TV is probably my favorite hidden camera program ever because it's so fucking British. It's not even funny. It's basically these hidden cameras are set up, and people in absurd costumes show up and just do the weirdest things. Like, so one of them is like someone's taking a photo, and they're taking a photo of like they're getting photos taken of Big Ben in the background. And the camera guy is in on this like prank, and basically as they pose the photo, someone dressed as the Grim Reaper walks into the photo, points at the couple, and then disappears.
Is that the one that had the guy on the gigantic cell phone yelling? Yeah.
And he would get a call on this thing and stand up in what would be normally a very quiet place like church or a library or like by people fishing, and just yell into this massive cell phone.
Yep. Yeah.
Or someone would get into a phone booth and 15 people dressed as squirrels would try to fit themselves into the phone booth with this person.
Or the thing I remember most with that was like you'd see somebody going down like an alley or like just a street, and then all of a sudden like 30 people
set
would start running at them
by an army of furries, basically.
Yeah. Yep. Running at them, and these people are just like what? Turn around and run. Yeah.
There was an American version of it, but it was very bad.
Of course it was. And actually, I think that large group of people running thing they stole from some Japanese shows, because once again, that was something my wife and I had seen watching some older YouTube clips.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No, it's, if you get a chance, just spend like an hour or so just looking at YouTube clips of just like Japanese game shows or bizarre Japanese comedy. Like it's so worth your time.
I used to follow a blog called What the Fuck Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And I found so much cool shit there. I found I actually discovered Nujabes through that blog, who's he's at this point kind of a prolific Japanese DJ who passed away in like 2010. He's one of the best hip hop DJs I've ever heard.
Really?
Yes. It is some of the most relaxing music that you can find.
Okay.
And he teamed up with this rapper called Shingo too, and it's called like the Lovesick Anthology. It's just 6 super upbeat, hyper positive rap songs.
Because there was a group in the late '90s I used to listen to from Japan called the Mountain Brothers, and they were quite good. They were really good hip hop. But that goes into like the theory that I think most people who pay any attention to Japan have is like they can take anything from any other culture and do it 10 times better because they're amazingly dedicated to it.
I love Japan so much.
I do too. It's just seeing like their rockabilly guys. It's like, man, you guys are going for it, and good on you.
Oh, those pompadour dudes?
Yes. Yeah.
Arlen, have you seen these guys?
No.
It's basically like they're like kind of like a gang or a social circle or like a social class. It's guys just dresses in these very Japanese influenced greaser outfits, and they have like 4 foot tall pompadours.
I have seen this. Yeah, those guys are insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're on point with their style. Like, it's weird. As much as people talk about how we fetishize Japanese culture, they do the same thing to us almost to almost the same extent in some ways, in some places at least.
In a way,
it's crazy.
Though, I feel like they don't. I don't know. I think you're correct in some ways, but it doesn't have a weirdness to it. Like they just take it and naturally make it theirs, while Americans are very much like, "This is Japanese, isn't it so cool?"
Yeah,
while
like,
Japanese people are just like, "Hey, this is a cool thing. I'm going to do it really well."
Didn't Japanese Spider-Man function like a Power Ranger?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, he did kind of. I mean, yeah, it fit with the Super Sentai thing that they were doing. I can see what you mean, Eric. Like, it's really weird when you see a white guy with a kanji on their arm, and it's like, and it says like, I don't know, hope without love or whatever.
Even though it probably means like fish sauce is made.
Yeah, right. I don't know any kanji symbols whatsoever, and I won't claim to know them. In fact, I actually went to Dragon Gate came to America a handful of times, and I was there at the first show they had in America, like the first official one. And I bought one of the towels they had for sale and had everybody sign it. And I had this guy come up and sign it named Shingo Takagi. He was the only guy who wrote in kanji. I found out later that something Shingo liked to do was autograph people's items with the wrong name in kanji. So I have no idea whose name he signed, if it's even his.
That's awesome.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What was I gonna? Oh, but so when like a Japanese chef opens up a pizza restaurant, that's cool though. Like, nobody cares. Like, I don't care. That's great. Like, also apparently they've like nailed pizza. Like,
really? I seem to remember hearing about that. Yeah. It's like, once again, like I said, they will take something from any other culture and integrate it into their own so well that you're just like, oh yeah, no, they've always done that. That's always been part of Japanese culture.
Yeah.
I remember a time where Japanese horror movies were basically all the only horror I wanted to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I know what you mean. Because there's a period there after Scream and what Scream unleashed upon the world. Unfortunately, where it's like, oh, this is a good movie. Now everybody's just going to copy this, and they aren't going to understand at all what made this good.
Yep.
It's like, let's make Friday the 13th, but let's also make it Scream halfway through production, because that's smart.
Are you referring to
Jason X?
Oh,
they had to reshoot parts. They had to reshoot like half that movie because Scream came out, and they were like, oh, people want slasher movies to be funny and self-aware now, so reshoot the movie and make it funny and self-aware.
No, I don't.
And that movie's a trash fire.
It really is, and I'm a very heavy defender of the Friday the 13th franchise. That movie is dog shit.
Yeah,
so is Part 5. I'm sorry.
Which one is Part 5?
That's with fucking Roy.
Oh, okay.
With not Jason.
Yeah.
But there was that wave. There was that wave of Japanese horror movies like Pulse. And I'm not talking about the American Pulse. The American Pulse is so bad.
I think just assume for any of these you're going to mention.
And if you're one of those people who don't know, there are original versions of some of these films, then you owe it to yourself to check them out. Pulse, One Missed Call, The Eye.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10 they were made by Takashi Miike too.
Oh no, Takashi Miike kind of stayed in his own corner.
Really? Because I that's the thing though. Like Takashi Miike actually made a lot of stuff that I was surprised at. Like it was still from Japan, but it was things that like were a little bit more normal than his more extreme stuff. Like he did the what was it, Yokai Watch, I think it was, which is it feels kind of like a kids movie.
Here's the thing, like Miike is one of the most committed to his work directors. I think he's directed 100 movies.
Something like that, yeah.
And I've seen a great deal of them. I saw a film called Izo that he made, which is like you've seen it?
Yeah, that weird time traveling Japanese samurai one.
Weird fucking movie.
Yeah, I don't remember much of it because at the time I watched it, I was like, "What?"
Arlen, okay, this movie is it's apparently about a real life samurai or swordsman who's crucified and executed. But the movie's like meat is that you follow him on his journey through the afterlife. And basically, it just rips him from time and place to time and place to time and place. And then he meets like various entities and spirits and whatever the fuck. And I guess the whole moral is like he has to let go of his rage and he just refuses to. And he just starts cutting apart like Buddhist figures and children and all those kinds of crazy shit every time that someone comes across him.
Metal.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah. That was around the same time he did Gozu too, which was his attempt at a David Lynch-esque film. I
haven't seen that yet, but I started his latest one, which is Blade of the Immortal.
I want to see that.
The first 30 minutes or so were amazing. I guess the origin story is this dude who he kind of comes across another like samurai gang or whatever, and I can't remember the exact setup. They threaten his sister, and then he fights by himself like 60 people. Mm-hmm. And they commit to this whole fight scene. Like you see him go through everybody one by one by one by one by one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was so fucking cool. But the horror movies I was talking about, like Pulse is great because Pulse is this weird ghost story that it's the apocalypse, but it's not a loud apocalypse. Like everyone's just disappearing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And ghosts are replacing you, and the way they replace you is that, from what I remember and understand, is that they make you feel so lonely and sad that you just fade into non-existence.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. I saw the original One Missed Call. I couldn't tell you what the fuck it was actually about.
That's the thing. Like, I thought that was a Takashi Miike film.
No. I did see Imprint. That was his movie he made for Masters of Horror.
Yeah, that was certainly a movie.
That is not a fun movie to watch.
No,
it's not. Okay, so Imprint was a movie that Takashi Miike made for Masters of Horror. Masters of Horror was a HBO? Showtime? I don't remember.
Yes.
Showtime.
HBO.
An HBO.
It was HBO, really?
No, wait a second. I might be wrong. I know that Max Landis and his dad made one. I can't remember if it was Showtime or not, though.
But it's a horror anthology of like movies, like short movies, like an hour long.
Mm-hmm.
And Miike's was so horrific, it wasn't allowed to be shown on whatever premium network this was.
Oh, wow!
And I've seen the director's cut. It is unsettling. It is one of the most uncomfortably violent films I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's is that the one that has wasn't he in The Crow? He's the American that's there, or is this? Yeah, he's the one who played Fun Boy.
I think.
Oh shit!
Yes. I think it was him. Yeah. Oh, and One Missed Call was Takashi Miike.
It really it was.
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude. Like
I forgot all about that.
He did a lot of extreme horror stuff, but he also did some very like relatively normal horror movies, like nothing that needed too much gore or insanity.
There's one he did for a movie, and I suggest everyone track this down that haven't seen it, except you, Alan, because I think this would just ruin you for life. It's called Three Extremes, and it's three horror films, like 45 minutes long apiece. Dumplings Cut in the Box, and it's three different directors. One of them is Miike, one of them is Park Chan-wook.
Mm-hmm.
And they give you these three really shocking horror stories.
Yeah, it wasn't Dumplings the Miike one, and
I
think Park Chan-wook the Dumplings.
I think Park Chan-wook was the dumpling one.
Okay.
And Mike was the box about a girl who like it has to do with Siamese twins and like a circus. I don't remember. It's so
that's the one I'm thinking of. That has the guy from The Crow in it. Yeah. Yeah.
It's so strange.
Yeah, I remember seeing it, and that's about it because I remember the twist in the entire story. I was kind of like, okay.
Cut is my favorite one. Cut actually has the actor who played Storm Shadow in our G.I. Joe movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's the premise is like he's an actor, this rich actor or director, I think. I can't remember what he is. Oh, he's a director. And he gets kidnapped by one of his extras who's been in all of his films. And he's taken his wife hostage. And I can't remember what he keeps asking for, but he's holding this dude for some kind of demand. And as time goes on, like if he doesn't get what he wants, his wife is like tied in position on a piano or something like that, and so her hands are kind of on the keys. And like every 10 minutes, he chops off one of her fingers.
Oh God.
Yeah. And then at some point during this story, the director's like, "No, well, I'll take care of this. We'll go to the hospital." So the extra's like, "Really?" He picks up the fingers, goes to the kitchen, and puts them in a blender.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Wait, Henry Rollins had an anthology show?
He did?
Oh, shit. Night Visions. What is this?
I had no idea.
Kind of familiar?
I don't know. I was looking at Masters of Horror, and it had suggested Night Visions. It's just Henry Rollins in like a t-shirt with his muscles all big. And
God,
what was this?
I just remembered. Go ahead.
What a weird recommendation.
No, I was just gonna say I just remembered Visitor Q from Takashi Miike. I don't know if any of you have seen that.
I have never seen it. There was a movie that I recommended. I think I remember. Oh, it was one of the horror suggestions I sent to Lou. It's called The Neighbor Number 13. It's about this dude who's bullied mercilessly as a kid, and then he grows up and ends up working in a construction site with his bully. Basically, you have this sense that he's got not just a split personality, like an entirely different version of himself that takes over when he's like basically about to go into like a rage mode. And it's someone who's bearing all the scars of like his verbal and physical abuse. So his face completely changes.
What was that one called again?
The Neighbor Number 13.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Because I think there's a sequence where they show inside the main character's head, and like it's represented by this just red room with the two of them sitting across from each other naked, like sitting Indian style. And then one, like the bad side takes over. They have a dance-off.
Whoa.
But it's not a fun... It's really freaky and weird looking.
Interesting.
And he just lets him kind of take over, and then he snaps. It's
got someone from Sukiyaki Western Janko.
That movie is very weird.
Yes. Anybody who's listened to Movie Dumpster knows. Yeah.
I don't even know how to just... like. I'm still not sure if I like it.
Yeah.
I just discovered that Takashi Miike also did a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure movie.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, apparently. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Diamond is Unbreakable Chapter 1.
That is an anime that I think I have to get into.
I don't know if I want to. I'd like to check out the manga at some point, but I don't know.
I'm very hesitant
to go. I just saw images from it. It does not. It looks weird. It
does.
Weird.
It's very weird. Like I saw the cherry sequence, and that's all I ever really had to see to sell me on it. It's this very uncomfortable sequence where someone's like, "Ooh, a cherry, thank you," and then just proceeds to go little, and then just like swish this thing around in his mouth at a very uncomfortable close up.
Yeah. There's definitely a very strong element of homoeroticism in it, from what I've heard.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I'm very hesitant to wander away from my Dragon Ball neighborhood. It's so cozy here.
Okay, well, so when you look up horror movies, Venom shows up, and I don't know why. When you just look up horror movies.
Well, because it's the most horrific of horror movies.
The upcoming one, or the one we watched?
No, the one that you watched. Just like in the suggestions for horror movies, like who would suggest this?
That's such a
you have to be a true monster to suggest that movie, so it's rather apt it comes up.
Fucking movie.
Yeah.
And it's especially appalling because it was that period of time when We had a bunch of theatrical slashers that were just the fucking worst.
Yeah.
All of these lifeless PG-13 slashers, and then like Venom was rated R, and it's there's no teeth to it whatsoever.
Well, it's.
If I'm going to a slasher film, I'm expecting to see red stuff.
I feel like a lot of those movies got pushed out because maybe they weren't originally supposed to be what they became, and they're just like, well, we'll just turn the script into a slasher movie. Let's just do it.
Yeah, like do you remember Cry Wolf?
With Jared Padalecki.
He's in that.
Yeah, he's in that.
Oh
Baby Jared
God.
Padalecki.
Yeah,
that's funny because he's still a baby in Friday the 13th. I really admire the fact that he's in Friday the 13th, and then Eccles was in My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah, it was great.
Both horror remakes coming out back-to-back months.
It was a smart marketing decision there.
Yeah, I think the My Bloody Valentine remake is also amazing. Yeah. Anybody seen the original one?
Years ago.
I never found it, actually. So.
Funny story on that. Back when I was probably 8, maybe 7.
So 100 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Used to have to go to church because my mom still went for some reason. I don't know why. My dad stopped years and years ago. Anyways, Catholic church, going to church, and there was a sleepover for a bunch of us at I think it was one of the clergyman's wives would host it. It was for all the kids to hang out, and somebody late at night discovered that movie. And we ended up watching it at this woman's house at like 11 o'clock at night without her realizing. So I got to watch My Bloody Valentine when I was 7 at a priest's wife's house.
Wow.
Yeah, because we're watching it, and like the very beginning where they take off their mining outfits, and you see the one woman is just wearing a bra, and it's like, oh, it's going to be this type of movie. I'm 7. Let's see what's happening.
All right.
Exactly.
I'm good to wrap up this episode, I suppose, though.
Yeah, I think so too.
Successfully shot the shit for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so happy we had a light news week because I was a little exhausted having like the marathon of like Friday afternoon 17 things get announced.
Yeah. I don't think we've had a laid back after dark in a while.
Nope. All right, so I'm Connor McGraw. We just recorded a new episode of Movie Dumpster. It was for Uncle Sam, and fuck that movie. That is a terrible film. It should be out on July 4th, and then Tetsuo the Iron Man's still coming out, and I don't remember what our next episode is. I was told, but I forget what it was. Anyway, keep an eye out for both of those.
Haro at all the places. Los Haro podcast every week. We put up our De Palma episode today. We're going to be recording a lot of stuff, so forgive me if I get things mixed up. We're going to try and do our episode with Connor, actually, sometime soon, hopefully.
Yeah! Is this the good soundtrack thriller? Horror versus thriller, okay.
Yeah. And other things also. We can do, we can bank 2 if you want. This is an off-mic conversation. I'm
okay with that. I'm looking forward to that good soundtracks from bad movies thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
We're going to do soundtracks first, but yeah. All right. That's the show every Friday.
Oh, wait, what?
Robot
Allen.
I got some stuff to plug. Next episode of Smallville Chronicles is coming out, which is the episode Rogue, which a rogue cop sees Clark use powers and tries to use him to basically fix his problems.
Right. Yeah.
Also, myself, Connor Irving, and Green Webb recorded a difference of opinion, which we're testing it out, or testing out which format would work. It's basically a difference, like I said, difference of opinion. And we talked about Detroit.
Is this a show, or what is...
What
is this?
I think it's a show because you're telling me that you heard Connor's voice the first time. Other Connor.
Yeah.
Regular Connor. I'm reverse Connor.
Canadian Connor, as we call
him. Wouldn't he be reverse Connor then, since everything is reversed and much better up there?
No. This is my perfect opportunity to fulfill this gimmick. It's happened, okay?
We did the difference of opinion on Detroit Become Human, and we talked about David Cage.
Like here's my quick hot take on David Cage. He's
Jason.
Anyway,
Jason. Anything else? Yep.
Yeah. By the time this episode will go up, hopefully Connor's review Irving, not McGraw. Just wanted to clear that up. His review of Detroit should be up by then.
All right.
Nice. I'm Eric Fedorchak. You can find me at Eric_Fedor on Instagram. Dogs, cats, food, comics. Also, more recently, the various improvements we've done to our living room and the fact that we finally got the fucking TV up on the wall that caused my wife and I to almost murder each other. You can also find me floating around the Fandom Zone doing my thing and chiming in here and there to talk about comics with people. I don't really have anything else to add because I already added the horrors of what I found earlier in the
I think you've done your part.
Yeah, I've used up my quota for disgustingness for the show. But you see, if Pennywise was to meet another...
Oh, wait, Jesse.
Get that line anti-Pennywise DVDs. Learn how to defend yourself against interdimensional
clown beings.
The Earth is flat because you can't see the curvature in the horizon.
Well, I was just looking at Australia the other day. So.
Oh, fuck X-Men Apocalypse. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.